Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone watching at home on Zoom. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi.
Hi. So welcome, everyone. We see some familiar faces to the East Brunswick Astronomy Club. We see a lot of new faces, a lot of little faces, and that's our goal for today, is to welcome little faces to the East Brunswick Astronomy Club. Our goal is that once a season, we'll start offering meetings like this that are interesting for the big people and the little people, because space is for everyone. So this is our presentation for tonight. I'm just going to hop right in. So tonight's agenda, we are going to do some introductions. We're going to talk about the Mars rover missions, the anatomy of a rover. We're going to meet the rovers and talk about how they work with the robotics team, and then see some demonstrations and have some hands-on activities. Does that sound good?
Yes.
All right. So welcome to the East Brunswick Astronomy Club. We are founded with the mission of encouraging and promoting an interest in astronomy and space science through East Brunswick and beyond. We meet here every third Thursday of the month. Kids meetings will hopefully be held seasonally, and we are currently trying to become a nonprofit. So if you are interested in getting started with us launching as a nonprofit, please let myself or Isaac or any of the regular club members know.
My name is Kevin. I am 5.5 years old. I love the Mars rover and learning about space.
And I'm Kristy Champignon. I'm Kevin's mom, and I love learning with him. And together as a family, and my husband in the back, love science, and we've enjoyed adding astronomy to our favorite hobbies. We are also joined by the East Brunswick Robotics Club. Thank you for joining us. They are part of the FRC build season, and they actually have a couple slides towards the end explaining their competition season and their missions and what they do. So I'm going to let them kind of do that during their time, because I'm sure they'll speak better to it than I will. So without further ado, let's actually talk about the Mars rovers. The Mars rover missions had some basic objectives to explore the Martian surface, search for evidence of past or present life by analyzing rocks and soil, and signs of past water activity, which would give clues to see if it's potentially habitable, meaning one day could we live on Mars?
Since the 1960s, there have been at last 68 missions that had launched to Mars or have flown by. It's on their way to another solar system bodies.
All right, so every rover follows a similar type of design. As you see, we have our Lego rover here, and later we'll see how the rovers have changed over time. But Kevin, what does each rover have?
It has a neck, brains, wheels, temperature controls, communication, and energy.
So our first rover we'd like to introduce you to is
Sojourner.
So Sojourner launched in December of 1996 and reached Mars in July of 1997. It was planned to last 7 days on Mars. It actually lasted
83 sols. Sols are the days on Mars that are about 40 minutes longer than Earth days.
Right. So their days are just a little bit longer than ours. So the mission for Sojourner was to test the capability of a vehicle being in space despite never having been on the planet before. It was the first wheeled vehicle to operate on an astronomical object other than Earth or Moon.
It was the size of a microwave.
Right. So it was only 25 pounds and about 11 inches high and 25 inches long. So when you think about your microwave at home where you heat up food. That's what we put wheels on, and we flew to Mars. Great. Come over here a little bit. Our next rover was
Spirit.
Its launch date was June 10th, 2003, and it reached Mars January 4th, 2004. We had planned for it to be there 90 days. In actuality,
it lasted 623 sols.
That's right. So The mission was to search for past life and find water, and it found that Mars did have water, including the potential for hot streams and steam vents. It had a whole bunch of tools here, like cameras, navigational cameras, mini thermal emission spectrometers, very fancy stuff.
Spirit landed on Mars with big air bags like Sojourner.
Spirit, wait.
With weight about 16 times heavier than Sojourner at 408 pounds. And Sojourner weighed only 25.
Right. So if you take Sojourner was your 25-pound microwave oven. Now imagine 16 of them made into a new rover, and we have an over 400-pound Spirit. What's our next rover, Bibs?
Opportunity.
So OPI launched in July of 2003 and reached Mars in January of 2004. Again, planned for 90 days. How long did she last, babe?
5,352 souls, which is about 8 Martian years or 15 Earth years.
That's right. So she was supposed to last 90 souls. She lasted 15 years. She found evidence that long time ago, there was at least one area of Mars that stayed wet for an extended period of time, which supports that there could have been microbial life on Mars at one time. OPI also helped scientists understand how craters form and erode over time.
OPI traveled over 28 miles.
You want to tell them her nickname?
They call her the Lucky Rover.
Why do they call her the Lucky Rover?
Because they didn't expect her to last that long.
That's right. There's many times that OPI probably would have been retired or stopped being able to move. But every time something came and she saved herself or the environment saved her and she kept being able to keep going.
It's moving because it's a curtain. And now we got Curiosity.
So she launched in 2011, landed in 2012. Her actual planned mission, and now they're getting a little more adventurous. Instead of 90 days, they were thinking that Curiosity could last 2 years. And that was in 2012. But how long did she last?
She is still operational.
So she's still up there driving around, discovering new things. So her mission was the same as previous missions, but to also explore the planet's habitability, meaning could humans come here one day? What did they call her, bud?
They call her the Science Lab on Wheels.
That's right. She is basically a giant science lab on wheels. She has 17 cameras, 10 scientific instruments, including a 7-foot-long robotic arm. I don't think we could even get a scale of how big that. I don't think anyone here is 7 feet tall. So that arm is longer than the tallest person in this room.
Microphone.
Let's see. She is 10 feet long and 5 times as heavy as Spirit and OPI. And because she's so big, she couldn't land with airbags like the other types of rovers. How did she land?
She landed using the sky crane with just like our next row.
That's right. We actually have a picture of her landing using the sky crane. And if anyone wants to come up and look at our book later, it also shows how the rovers land using a sky crane that comes out of a parachute and then lands the rover onto Mars. And our last rover here, this is the last one.
Perseverance.
So she launched in 2020 and reached Mars February of 2021. And how's she doing up there, bud?
She's still operational.
That's right. So she has the same mission as earlier rovers, plus she is testing oxygen production for future crewed missions and saving samples that are supposed to one day come back to Earth. It'll be the first time we're able to retrieve something from Mars. She has 19 cameras, 17 scientific instruments, 2 microphones, and upgraded wheels. What does she do with those microphones?
She records the first sound from Mars.
Right, so this is the first time we've heard what it's like to be on Mars. And audio scientists can actually determine a lot about its atmosphere based on the sounds that it produces there. Percy also carried a mini helicopter, Ingenuity, that made that was the first powered aircraft that was flown on another planet. It actually survived for 3 years and 72 flights before retirement. That one's yours. Sorry, go ahead.
Percy weighed over 2,000 pounds.
So remember, we went from a 25-pound microwave oven to 2,000 pounds. I missed a zero. 2,000 pounds, so very big. And if you're wondering, well, how big can a rover really be? Because we're thinking about our microwave oven rover. So here's our family of rovers. So Sojourner is our very small friend down here at the bottom. Again, that's your microwave oven, or like a very large shoebox. Then we have Spirit and Opportunity. And then we have
Curiosity and Percy.
Right, which are a similar body type. The only way you really tell them apart is their wheels, generally speaking. So if you're thinking, well, okay, they all look like cute little tiny robots. This is how big the wheels actually are. So we had a wonderful experience of going to the Franklin Institute a couple weekends ago, and they have an exhibit where they have on display the different wheels that the rovers have used. So that tiny one at the top above Kevin's head is one of Sojourner's wheels.
Can I do the last one?
Yeah, it's about the size of the moon that's on Kevin's shirt, or probably about the size of the NASA logo on Kevin's shirt. That's how small Sojourner was. Versus, you'll notice that Spirit and Oppie's wheel is almost the size of Kevin's head. And then
White.
And then Percy.
And then these wheels were used for Percy and Curiosity, which are shown at the bottom. I'm holding that one.
And again, using Kevin for scale, those wheels came up to about here on him. So each tire is now this big, and there were 6 of them. So big enough for most of you to ride on top of if it was a ride. So this is the introduction to our rovers.
Robot bit.
Yeah. So from the rovers, I'd love for you to think about which one was your favorite. And if you went to Mars, what would you hope to find there?
Look.
Does anyone... Oh, what would you like to find on Mars? Oh, you'd like to see Mars and you dream about it? That's awesome. Oh, you're a hiker. You're into the rocks. That's very cool. Oh, that would be cool. You could go visit Oppie. She probably hasn't had a visitor in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, you dig a hole to find things? Just like a rover. Very cool. Oh, very cool.
Right, with fun on Jupiter.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening to our talk about rovers. And we're actually going to turn it over to the robotics team.
Hi, everyone. We're Astrea Robotics, Team 6897. So this is a little bit about who we are. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are part of East Brunswick First Inc., which is the nonprofit organization. We are our first robotics team. So we are part of the first robotics organization, and we participate in FRC League teams through robotics competitions. We are a school club, and we participate in school events too, and we use the school space for meetings, and recently we've gained a school advisor, so we've been building our community there. So this is a little bit about how we function. We are split into 3 sub-teams: business, mechanical, and programming. So I'm a part of the business sub-team, and we are responsible for contacting companies as they conduct fundraising endeavors and community outreach. So we mainly look for sponsors, and we look for various outreach events such as this one to talk about our team and who we are. So in the future, maybe all of you guys could come up to the high school and you can join our team.
On the mechanical sub-team, our job is to design and build a robot. So we start by creating a sketch on paper, and then we bring it to life by prototyping and building it.
All right, so on the programming sub-team, we basically take everything that's given to us from the mechanical sub-team, and we put all these little moving parts together, and we make sure that all these systems can work together to fulfill some sort of function that takes place at our competition. All right, so our season is basically started in January when the new game for the year is announced. And each year has a new game, and we have 8 weeks to build a robot that can fulfill everything that we need to do in that game. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So during the actual season, in those 8 weeks we have to build, we have to strike a balance between actually building the robot and making sure we teach new members for next year when us as seniors aren't going to be there. So we spend those 8 weeks designing and then testing code and fixing any problems that may arise.
Yeah.
So you could probably wonder, how much does a robot cost? Robots are very expensive, and we ourselves don't often have the money to cover that. So additionally, along with the other outreach events that we do, the business sub-team hosts a lot of fundraisers. A recent fundraiser that we did in December was Applebee's. So we sold a bunch of tickets, and a bunch of people came into Applebee's and they got to eat, and it was a great opportunity for us to raise a lot of money to build our robot for on-season.
So during off-season, which is when we are done with all of our competitions, which is around the end of the school year, we start something called summer training. This is when we kind of pass down the knowledge from the previous school year and generation to the next. And this is an 8-week program where we allow a bunch of high school students to come together and kind of learn about our previous bots and the knowledge needed to build it. And this is before competition season begins.
So I had previously mentioned a little bit about outreach, but some more examples of how we spread STEM education in the community and to really achieve the first mission. We work in EB Day and Middlesex County Fair, so we have a little booth set up, and that's where we show our previous year's robot, and we talk to a bunch of members in the community and whoever's interested to learn a little bit about how our robot functions and who we are as a team. We've also collaborated with numerous Girl Scout and Cub Scout members, and we have done the same sort of presentation, and we've done various activities like we're going to do later. And that's also another way for them to reach out. And we've also worked with the local Montessori preschool, where we have gone over to their school over the summer, and we have used little Botley kits to show them the basics of code and the basics of mechanics, to show them the opportunities with STEM and how it could grow in the future. Additionally, if any of you guys would like to see robots, not just ours, but a bunch of different teams, in September, we are a part of RVSTS in the Bridgewater Raritan Mall. So you could definitely come and see a bunch of different robots and how they work. Thank you.
Yeah, so before we start anything, we would also like to introduce this year's bot. Kush, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. Should I start with the name? Okay, so this year's bot is named Andromeda. The short form is Andy. And basically the game this year is to take in this PVC pipe from a source. If you want, can you pivot it up to demonstrate? So like that pivots up and then it takes us in, and we have to shoot this out onto different little things called, pipes on like a reef, because it's a water themed game. And then we also have another intake over here that takes in a ball. Do we have the ball right now? Oh, it's in my car. Sorry. Yeah. And yeah, that's basically the two things that this bot does.
Nice work, Kevin. Thanks for participating, everyone, in all the activities. The activities will still be out at the end if you want to come back to them later. We're actually going to turn it over to our club president to go over our final slides, and we're actually going to start by answering a question. So we have a question for our first presenter, Kevin. The question is from Tara asking, I was wondering how you got so interested in Mars rovers. So how did you become interested in Mars rovers?
Because as I liked seeing about Mars, and then I discovered the Mars rovers.
Oh, wonderful answer. So Kevin got interested in Mars, the planet, and then he found out that there was rovers on Mars, which sparked his love for it. Nice job, babe. All right. So without further ado, I will turn it over to our club president, Isaac.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Did everyone have fun today? Yeah, was the robots cool? Were the robots cool? Excellent. So, as Kristy mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, The East Brunswick Astronomy Club meets once a month, every third Thursday of the month. And what we try to do is have like a very interesting presentation at the beginning. And then afterwards, we go into some of the slides that you'll see here today. So, as part of our monthly meeting, we actually do go over the conditions overview. So typically, what we'll do is talk about what the weather looks like today. So as you can see on the slides here, I have a picture of an app that I like to use, which is called Astrospheric. And it does a nice job of forecasting the weather. And as you can see, it's very cloudy. So because of this, we won't be taking the telescopes out today. No surprise there. Does anyone else use that app on their phones? No? So this other slide is also part of our regular meetings. It actually shows, who's up there tonight. So if it were clear, we would go outside and be able to see some of these planets or the moon. This one, I didn't include the screenshot of the exact time, but the idea was if it was clear, we would be able to see Jupiter and Mars. Sadly, not happening today. But this is actually from a different app called Stellarium. Does anyone use Stellarium? Couple more. Excellent. What I like is it actually has this little chart here where it says planet visibility. So you can tell, like, if you were interested in seeing a particular planet or the moon, you'll know exactly at what time it'll be visible during the night. So you can plan your evening if you're going to do some observing. All right. So as part of our meetings, we also do like to bring to your attention any upcoming events. So these aren't necessarily East Brunswick Astronomy Club events, but still might be interesting to anyone attending our meetings. And one of the big ones happening soon on April 5th and 6th is NEAF, the Northeast Astronomy Forum. Has anyone ever been to NEAF? No. Well, it's a really fun expo. It's at the Rockland Community College. It's maybe an hour and change north from here, but it's really fun to go. You'll see vendors that are selling different telescopes, binoculars, and stands. Different organizations will be there as well. And you're able to see some of the equipment that they're selling, services that they provide. But then there are also some other NASA Solar System ambassadors like myself that like to set up a table there. There is a cost to attend, but it's pretty interesting if you have that sort of inclination to take a look and see what's out there. I do end up leaving these events with a lot of regret of not buying things, but I think my wife would kill me if I showed up with a new telescope at this point. And also, the East Brunswick Astronomy Club is actually a partner club of the UACNJ, which stands for the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. They're headquartered out at Jenny Jump State Forest near Hope, New Jersey. And they're actually opening for the 2025 year on Saturday, April 5th. So that's the first time they're opening up this year. And then moving forward, they have weekly Saturday meetings free to the public. Similar setup as our meetings where they have a presenter, talk about something astronomy related, and then they open up their observatories. And I think they have maybe 6 or so. And so you can take a look through their telescopes, which is pretty fun. If you've been out there, I mean, as soon as you get out of the car on a dark, clear night, you can see like sprinkles of stars just out. And it's quite amazing to see on a clear night. So I highly encourage folks to make the trip out west, northwest from here, because it is nice to get away from all the light pollution that we suffer from here. And typically for them, their first meeting of the month is titled What's Up in the April Sky for April. And they have that similar setup for each month. But like I said, they meet more regularly than we do on a weekly basis. And there is their website if you're interested in more information. But for us, our upcoming event would be the April meeting on April 17th. This one is titled Ultra Faint Dwarf Galaxies, Their Evolutionary Histories and Galactic Correlations. So we will have Dr. Katie Rodriguez-Wimberly, who is an assistant professor of physics and astronomy at CSU San Bernardino, give us a presentation on this topic, which I'm highly excited for. So if you're interested, by all means, come to our April meeting. Note, we will be meeting at 7:30 now that the sun sets later in the evening. We start our meetings at 7:30 as opposed to the typical 7 o'clock that we've done in the past. Third Thursday of July, we'll have our next kid-focused event for the club. So mark your calendars. So we also have this other section called open discussion, and it's really just to see if there's anything that the group in attendance, whether online or in person, have anything that they might have experienced recently. And we like to include something like the March 14th lunar eclipse. I know it was very cloudy here because I did check the weather and sort of thankfully was happy that it was cloudy, so I didn't have to go outside at 3 o'clock in the morning. But if anyone was lucky enough to maybe travel or was somewhere else and experience the total solar eclipse, was anyone lucky enough? No, it's tough, especially this time of year. I mean, just like tonight, I know the club historically hasn't had the greatest luck with clear nights, but we do the best that we can with what we're given. Has anyone experienced a lunar eclipse besides the one that we missed because of clouds? Yeah.
I was looking for the back for the night.
You missed it? We'll have to catch the next one.
When is the next one?
That's a great question. I don't know offhand. Does anyone? Yeah, because I got to see pictures and videos of people who were lucky enough to see it. They posted it on Instagram and Facebook, but it looked pretty cool just to see how it turns red.
September 7th.
September 7th is the next one. Mark your calendars. I hope you're not busy that day. The other open discussion topic that I had here was the upcoming partial solar eclipse. Did anyone know that was happening? No? So for this one, it is scheduled to occur on March 29th. And it's pretty much happening as soon as the sun comes over the horizon. We'll get to see a part of it. It won't be total for us. But hopefully you have a nice flat area that isn't obscured by trees or buildings and are able to catch the sun as it starts to go over the horizon to be able to catch this event. But similarly here, mark your calendar, Saturday, the 29th of March at 6:45 in the morning. All right. So in August, we are planning to have what we like to call a quickfire presentation. Thank you, Melissa, for that great name. The idea there is to have folks who are interested in giving a presentation to the club, just like Kevin did today, which was awesome. Spend a couple minutes. These will be quickfire, meaning they shouldn't take more than maybe 5-10 minutes. And that way we can actually hear from a couple different folks and hear about something astronomy related. That gives the attendees of our meetings an opportunity to not hear me blab for too long, but then present something yourself, something that interests you. And it's in August, so you have plenty of time to prepare. If you are interested, let me know. I kind of jumped the gun and put info@ebastro.org. It should work. If it doesn't, reach out to Isaac at 3dastrogeek.io. But I'll leave you with two things. One, thank you so much for coming to this event. This is actually a first for the club, many firsts for the club. And I think we've hit max attendance for any of our meetings. So shout out to the club and for all of you for coming and helping us hit that milestone. The other thing, thank you. The other thing is, if you're interested, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. The QR codes are up there. Our homepage is ebastro.org. That way you can keep in touch with us, keep updated. If there's anything that changes with our meetings or something special that's happening that requires registration, you'll be the first to know. We also do have a newsletter. So if you are interested, it's completely voluntary. Feel free to come visit us here and sign up for our newsletter. That way you get our emails. They come out once a month. We won't sell your information. And you'll get to know the upcoming presentation topic. You also get access to our slides from previous meetings as well. Any questions? Thank you so much for coming.